Now, how does this all play out in court with the trial set? We turn to Danya Perry, a former federal prosecutor and former deputy attorney general in the state of New York. As we look at some of the other individuals there, family has testified these individuals defying and going to trial for it. Thanks for being here.
Sorry.
What do you think of what Mr. Navarro specifically would face here with the judge previewing the idea that it's not that complicated?
Yeah, Mr. Navarro has made it simple. He could have mucked it up. He could have avoided indictment, no doubt, by doing the bare minimum, as Mark Meadows and Dan Scavino did. Instead, he decided that maybe to help him market his book, who knows, but to completely flout the validly issued congressional subpoenas and just ignore them and assert this blanket claim of privilege without, as you point out, the former president invoking it, and when other judges have already held that it doesn't apply. And as a matter of law, all he had to do was go sit for his deposition and invoke privilege, question after question, topic by topic. That alone could have avoided these 2 misdemeanor charges that he now faces. So it's right. The judge is absolutely right. Ari, I couldn't agree more. This is pretty simple, pretty cut and dry. Did he or did he not comply with these congressional subpoenas? A jury can decide, but it seems pretty cut and dry.
And the committee wants to speak with him for the same reason that we've seen the evidence they have throughout these hearings. There are people who have different reasons for what they're involved in or why they're touting it. But you take it together, you get end-to-end on the emails and end-to-end on the documents, end-to-end on the meetings, and you start to build up what really happened, even on very high-level calls like Trump to Pence, or how many people were in on what Navarro calls the sweep, what many view as a legal plot. Illegal plot, I mean, to stage a coup. What else do you think the committee would like to know from Mr. Navarro?
Yeah, both he and Steve Bannon could have shed a lot of light on both that Green Bay sweep, and there were other iterations of the plot to overthrow the election. As the committee has laid out, it was a multi-pronged, sort of hydra-headed beast, and every time one avenue or possible means to overthrow the election was cut down, 2 others would grow in its place. And clearly, as a person who was right in the middle of it for some time, along with Steve Bannon, he could have shed a lot of light on exactly, as you say, who was involved, what they decided, what they knew, and in particular, of course, what his boss knew at the time.
And then finally, Mr. Bannon has led this sort of public revenge threat response. And Navarro seems to be echoing that as well. In that interview we showed, he started talking about they're going to get back in power and go after these public officials, et cetera. Does that in any way affect their looming trial? The DOJ, for example, trying to use that to limit further what comes into evidence with Bannon. Do you view that as basically out-of-court crap, or could it actually affect the contours of the trials that they're preparing for?
You know, I think it may already have affected him. His indictment was sealed and he was arrested publicly, which is unusual for a misdemeanor case for a person who's not otherwise a clear risk of flight or a danger to the community. And it may very well be, I don't know, but it may be because the government believed that this is a person who doesn't respect the rule of law. And so it may be that, it shows up in other ways and affects evidentiary rulings, and perhaps even a gag order. I mean, that's highly, highly unusual. And the judge would have to make findings that he is either tampering with a jury pool or actually creating some kind of threat.
And to your point,
he's out there. And
I mean, to
knows?
your point on the recent court history, they did get a judge at the pre-arraignment stage to approve what you're calling that more aggressive type of arrest on the finding that there was a risk of evidence tampering. Danya Perry, good to see you. Have a good weekend, and we will be right back.